have a complaint about the current wrestling product, and not just WWE per se, but the industry, is they don't work as hard to touch people emotionally any longer. You know, it's more, I don't know, it is entertainment. It's always been entertainment. But, we were taught from the very beginning that our job was to reach out and touch the fans, emotionally, whether you were a bad guy or a good guy, a babyface or a heel. It was, to draw them in emotionally into the match. And I don't think that's as critically important. With WWE, they can afford to not have that be so important. If I had 1.5 million people paying me $10 a month to be on my network, I'd be pretty complacent too. Plus their network contracts with USA and their merchandise. So to make the stories as compelling emotionally as we used to isn't as critical for them any longer. But what match are you looking forward to? Who's your favorite wrestler, Courtney?
Hillbilly Jim, but I don't think he's out there anymore, is he?
That's Hillbilly Jim.
Hillbilly Jim.
Yes, I love him.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but I'm kind of like a John Cena fan right now. I like the Divas. I think that's a lot of fun for me. Maybe wrestling his last match before heading to Road with Fozzy. Do you think his rematch with Kevin Owens will be a showstealer or not?
Match this week, Les. Do you think that it'll be before he goes out on the road? Do you think he'll have a really good match with Kevin Owens? Do you think that match will steal the show?
I think Owens is a talented guy, and who's he wrestling tonight or Sunday night? I mean,
Jericho.
Yeah. Well, Chris. There was a guy. I first met Chris when he and Lance Storm came to Smoky Mountain as the Thrill Seekers, their first run in the United States. Mm-hmm. Chris is one of the, to me, he is a great talent, and virtually anybody that works with him is going to look good. Owens is talented too, and of course they've been building toward this thing, so it should be an interesting match. I think Owens will get his hand raised because Chris is going back on the road with his band, as far as I know, in the near future, I guess in the next month or so. So, but Jericho, it takes two obviously to dance and to make a good dance. But Jericho is the kind of guy, whether he's a babyface or he's a heel, it doesn't matter. He can get the job done, and he is a guy, Courtney, who is it's a talent that's getting lost, and that is he can go out and get somebody else's hand raised, make somebody else look good, get them over, and yet not lose his own steam, and that's a talent into itself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that'll be a good match.
What about Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton? They had a bad match at WrestleMania. Can they improve?
I'm a big Orton fan. When I was a trainer for WWE, Randy was in Ohio Valley wrestling, and of course I had the opportunity to wrestle Randy's grandfather and Randy's father. Yeah, Bob Sr. and Bob Jr. And Bray Wyatt's grandfather is somebody I worked with, Blackjack Mulligan, which is actually, I think, where Wyatt inherited his great promo skills. Now, I think they can have a good match. Randy is a good, pure wrestler, and I like him very much. I think it'll be a good match. I'll tell you the truth, I can live without all the special effects. They have, to me, there's a fine line between believability and BS. And when you start showing me maggots crawling around the ring, I understand the technical value of that and the skills. But, again, if I'm 9 or 10 years old, maybe I think that's cool. I'm not. So as wrestlers. I think both of them have the talents, and I think if whoever's producing that match let them build more on that than on the special effects, I would be more excited, and I think they both have the skill to do that. I say Randy is third generation, and is a good sound wrestler. And well, I'm saying he's third generation, and actually Wyatt is second generation. So they both got a history of great people in the family, and it'll be interesting. That's for sure. I think Wyatt. I think in our business there is you get somebody to a certain peak, and that's when you push them the hardest. And I think they should have been pushing Wyatt much harder a year ago. I think he would have had a lot more drawing power and more value to him at that point. But still, he's a solid performer and getting better all the time.
Do you believe Alexa Bliss will beat Bayley in her hometown for the women's title?
I don't know. Gosh, I don't know. Bayley is she's talented, but she looks so young. The girl, in the last year or so, Charlotte, Sasha, those girls have raised the bar. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like good. As old and beat up as I am, I still appreciate a beautiful woman. But in but in a wrestling ring, I don't care if she's beautiful or ugly if she can do the job, And so Alexa Bliss, for me, the jury's still out. I think there's a lot of possibility there, and again, you can have the most talented, technically talented performer in the world, but if they're not showcased properly and with the proper opponents, that doesn't come to the surface. So, I don't know about this particular match, honestly. Bayley's a good performer. It's just sometimes I look at size matchups, and now they're closer to being similar in stature and in build. Bayley against Charlotte just comes off as that's a tough sell for me. But I think all the girls that have come up out of NXT in recent times are all very talented and have raised the bar. And I'm glad they don't call them divas anymore. Because there were a lot of very lovely young ladies who, as the old saying goes, Courtney couldn't slap their ass with both hands.
Mr. Les, a few weeks ago for our WrestleMania show, we had Dr. Tom Pritchard on our show. Do you have any good stories about him?
About Dr. Tom?
Yes.
I love Doc. He's like family to me. We both have been trainers for WWE. In fact, I did a weekend training camp for NWA Smoky Mountain promoter Tony Gibbons in Knoxville just a couple weekends ago. And that's Tom. Yeah, Tom lives there, and so he came over on Saturday morning to say hello. And, of course, he rolled his sleeves up and stayed and helped me run the whole training day and stayed through the show on Saturday night. Yeah, we've worked together a lot on in different training seminars. I have a lot of respect for Tommy. He was a very solid performer and is a hell of a trainer. I don't know if I got any great stories, but one of the things I'm not Jim Cornette as emotional as Jim, but I do get cranked up occasionally. But one of the things Tom has got a little softer demeanor, but I always get a kick out of when we were doing these training camps together. He would tell people, well, Les has got a little shorter fuse on his temper, so he may explode, but don't pay attention to how he says it, but pay attention to the content of what he says. And then it comes out that Tommy loses his temper before I do and starts waving his arms and going crazy. But, so many of the stars of recent years in WWE, Tommy has had his hand in terms of their developing and becoming top talents. And to me, he's just a class act. And like I say, I look at him as extended family. He's a terrific. You guys had Lance Storm on too, right?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a training camp. 2 years running in Charlotte. They had a 4-day convention there, and Dr. Tom, Lance, myself, Rip Rogers, and a wrestler that I trained, Nigel McGuinness. We did a camp there, and loved working with Lance too. That's one of the things I think in our business. There's a lot of people that will tell you they can train you, but there's very few. I mean, legitimately, there's a handful of what I call legitimate trainers